So this is a review on the Glidr Antarctic. Got the fire and ice.
The blurple?
Blurple.
No, the blurple, the purple dragon.
Purple dragon. Pretty good knife. Very light. As you can see over here, got a couple Arctics. OG Arctic, original, another Antarctic, and another Arctic. Pretty good knife. Adam, any quick early
Oh, for beginners, it's nice because you get that little bit of weight, but not too much to where you're out of control with it. So it's good for beginners, of course.
Yes,
You get that you get used to that weight of the blade so that you can control it better.
especially if you're transitioning from like a squiddy plastic knife into metal knives.
Yes.
Definitely makes it a little bit easier getting used to and comfortable with the weight. It is much lighter than the regular Arctic as well, just pointing that out. But yes, I think it is a very, very good premium starting balisong, especially if you're new to the whole thing. I would recommend sticking with something like a cheap beater, Amazon. Also like squiddy plastics too if you can. But if you want to make that jump and don't want to switch over to a Benchmade or BRS just yet, price point, you definitely get a good bang for your buck.
Oh, most definitely. It's basically a solid knife that'll last you for a while.
Yes.
Especially if you just want to beat it up a little bit.
Yeah, it can take that too. That's definitely what I noticed with the Arctics. Like this one over here, Rest in Pepperoni. This one got trashed on so hard for a long time. And now I got my fire and ice. This is my dream knife, honestly. I think I told you that a couple of times. But I've always wanted to get the fire and ice Arctic, and I finally got it. And I cannot recommend it enough. It was $165, right?
165 plus shipping, so like 170.
170-ish, yeah. So depending on what you pay for the shipping, you're looking at 170 plus. No more than 200 though at the most. But it's very good. It's light though, and that's the thing that does throw me off.
Because the other ones are so heavy.
Yeah.
But that's also nice because they're coming out with those weighted spacers.
Yep.
So adding those to this knife, if you had a chance to get one, or if you're going to get one, definitely the weighted spacers would help a lot. But if you're just getting into like a metal knife or getting a better metal knife, then this is probably a great transition. Maybe wait to get that weight on there. Ha, little pun there. But it's just a great transition.
Definitely. I cannot wait for those weighted spacers too, because I want to mix around and mess around with a blade bias or a handle bias on the weights. I want to see how it'll work with putting one or two, putting one on one and keeping the original on the other.
Mm-hmm.
See if I might like that. But definitely something to mess around with and experiment, depending on if you like the weight or not. I do personally like the weight, but I want to see how it feels with something.
I personally like the weight too. I think it holds better. But
and especially if you already have an Arctic on hand.
yes.
Like you said too, how you were practicing with the Arctic,
Yes.
and then you would switch over and
practice with the Antarctic, because with the weight you have a little more control with it, but with this, how it's a little lighter, you kind of spin it out a lot, where you're throwing it a lot. But
it definitely whips.
yes,
It whips a little bit faster.
But that's also nice with some tricks because it makes it look nice and flashy.
Especially with chaplains, doing something like that. Rollovers, fanning is much easier. But then at the same time, with the weight being in the base of the handle, I feel like that could also help with fanning in a sense, with the weight being in the back. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then having that, like, I don't know how you would explain that, but I feel like that could definitely.
With on the bite handle, if you had the weight, I mean, you're throwing it around, and that gives it more control with
like
the
momentum, like more momentum.
Yeah, you can hold it better.
Yeah.
Which would help with like beginners and stuff like that a lot.
Yeah, definitely. It would make it a little bit easier, and then and also too, I want to talk about the grip, like the actual the handle itself compared to the regular Arctic. All this one really has is just engraved channels, as you can see there. And then this one has just a solo
engraving right in the center.
Engraving right in the middle, yeah. And it was kind of iffy at first, but I like it a lot.
Looking at it on the pictures, it was really deceitful because you're like, will this be good with grips? You're like, maybe. But then you also have the engravings right there at the bottom, which is really nice if you're going for any sort of trick at the bottom.
Exactly.
It kind of gives you that whole better grip. That's what I'm trying to go for there.
Yeah, it definitely reminds me of some JK design, Monarch or Orca. It definitely does help right here. And then me having sweaty palms, I was iffy on it too, and it is definitely not something that is hurting me in any way. Yeah, very good knife, especially if you're a beginner. Highly recommend it. Wait for that drop. If you don't have a lot of money, definitely just save up and maybe just buy another beater on Amazon in the meantime. But other than that, pretty good knife.
Oh yeah, especially if you're just getting into it. Definitely if you don't think the price point is for you yet, go for a beater on Amazon. It's worth that as well. Just to at least get the basics down, learn how balisong moves and how you can control it. So once you transition to this, you're like, oh, you have so much more control with something that's premium and has like good weight to it.
Yeah, and if you are owning a squiddy, don't be afraid of switching to a metal knife because, like we said, it's very light and it will be a smooth transition, especially if you have been practicing a lot and got the muscle memory down. It will come. It's like riding a bike or like flipping a knife. It's definitely translates. But yeah, definitely really good knife. Highly recommend it if you can get your hands on it. All right, yeah.